Welcome to John Essex Sports Channel. Yes, we are going to give you the championship predictions for week 14. It's going to be the usual, a moulding of me and my predictions, looking at the last few games, alongside an awful lot of you this time. I'm going to go through quite a lot of your results and your predictions. So we're going to try and gel them together. So don't blame me if your side loses in the predictions, because it's sort of a nice eclectic mix of everybody's thoughts here. So we're going to go to Birmingham first. We're going to Birmingham versus Millwall. Birmingham are in 11th and Millwall are in 4th. Now, Birmingham are probably where I thought they would be, roughly. Millwall, a place or two higher. I think that I was expecting just outside the 6 at this point in the season, with Sheffield United and Southampton and Leicester being above them, really pushing this side down a little bit, with the likes of Borough and Coventry probably there or thereabouts above them. That's what I was thinking. But this side has been doing quite well. Birmingham, draw, lose, win. The last time out, Portsmouth win at home. Birmingham 4, Portsmouth 0. And really, Portsmouth weren't in this game. 0 shots on target for Portsmouth. Look, they did start to come back in the second half, Portsmouth, and play some football. And actually managed to keep the ball incredibly more than what Birmingham got it. But they didn't do anything with it. 0 shots on target and 58% possession. That tells you everything. This game was controlled by Birmingham when they had the ball. 43% possession. 19 shots. 7 of them on target. 4 in the net. This was a Birmingham side that for once fired on all cylinders. However, they allowed Portsmouth to play, and they allowed Portsmouth to have the ball, and they allowed Portsmouth to pass the ball without any interruptions. But it worked. It doesn't always work, does it? The last time out, Championship there, Bristol City 1, Birmingham 0. And in this game, Birmingham's would have... They had 13 shots, but only 1 of them on target. They certainly weren't as critical and as clinical in that Bristol City away defeat as they were in the home win at Portsmouth. So we are at home again, and this is what's interesting. They're very, very good at home. I think Birmingham have to be one of the favourites. Millwall, though, lose, win, draw. And the last time out, a surprise for me, a draw away at Oxford. Oxford 2, Millwall 2. Millwall can be really, really good at home, and they can be excellent away from home. Their away form particularly interests me. They can squeeze out the odd result, even when we really don't know if they're going to win it or not. The other out of the last 6 games, actually, the other away game was a 2-1 win away at QPR. So they can do it, but at Oxford away, they didn't do all the business. Here, it was sort of 50-50 all the way round, really. I'd say it was there was about 5 or 6 shots for both sides on target. There was sort of 10, 11, 12 shots at target. It was a pretty good game. It was a decent top 10 game, this, which is surprised because they're not in the top 10. But it was a really good... Well, Oxford aren't in the top 10. Millwall, though, you would expect a top 10 performance from where they are, obviously in that 4th position. So Oxford stepped up their game, and they stepped it up really nicely. They're doing well at home, I think, and they would have been a little bit disgruntled. If anybody was really on top in this game, I'd say Oxford were just marginally ahead. But this Millwall side also, they'll be a bit gutted that they allowed Oxford to have so much run of the green, because usually they control the ball really well and they keep the ball really well. They didn't really show that in this game. So what are we talking about? Let's have a look at your predictions first. Birmingham Millwall 2-1, 1-1, 2-0, 2-1, 1-1 and 2-1. There's a good few of you here thinking probably the same as me. I think Birmingham have the edge over Birmingham here, over Millwall. But Millwall can win this one. I think it's going to be 2-1. The only trouble is, guys, I can't see which way round this is going to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go with your predictions because I think it's going to be 2-1. I'm not sure which way round. Millwall fans, don't shoot me because I'm going to go Birmingham 2, Millwall 1. And we'll move on to the next game, which is Bristol City versus Blackburn. Now, Bristol City versus Blackburn is one of those games that... we would have probably been looking at and thinking this is going to be one of those games of two teams just above 10th position, somewhere between 7th and 10th. Somewhere around there. Well, 5th place, Bristol City. I'm getting all my B's mixed up. But 19th place, Blackburn. And I've been saying, I'm like, Blackburn have been improving. Not a huge amount, but just enough for me to be saying they're not going to be in that bottom three. Absolutely not. We look at Bristol City, draw, lose, win, and a loss there against Stoke City. And I took some flack for that one. I did think that they could, Bristol City could do something here. As it was, they got absolutely hammered. Did anybody see that coming? Absolutely not. Everybody thought this would be roughly as it is in the with the league. They're pretty close together, 3rd and 5th at the minute. And Stoke City would have been even closer had they before they won this game. So when you look at it, this was a game of either way, wasn't it? Well, Bristol City just didn't turn up. And how many times I've said this Bristol City side this season has turned up or not turned up. In this one, just didn't turn up for me. Look, they had lots of shots, and Bristol City fans, before you start moaning, you did have lots of shots, lots of in fact, you had more shots actually at target than Stoke City. But it's no good if those 5 shots at target only get 1, and Stoke City's 8 shots on target get 5. 5-1 result shows you everything here. This the Stoke City side was firing. They were passing well. They were dribbling well. The technical side of the game was all Stoke City. Bristol City were okay passing wise. They were okay dribbling wise. But there was no flair. That's what was missing for me. They had lots of shots. They got into the other end, but there was no clear, brilliant bits of technical prowess for me. Block shots, 6 block shots for Bristol City. It just shows you that they're actually just hammering the ball somewhere between those 2 sticks over there. Forget where the defenders are, and you've got to always think about where they are and try and place the ball. So Bristol City just didn't have it on the day there. Well, how about Blackburn? Because I say they've been improving. Lose, draw, lose. And then we get, and one of those was Coventry, so you can't count that one, can we? And then we get 2 wins. Win against Southampton, 2-1 at home. Win against Leicester City, 2-0 away. And we're going to go to that one. Leicester City 0, Blackburn 2, a goal in both halves. And here I really did think that Blackburn might have, they have been getting better. I'm thinking a draw, possibly. But I really did fancy Blackburn quite a lot. And actually what we ended up with was a game where Leicester City, just like usually, they have plenty of shots, they have lots of possession, but they did nothing with it. Again, and they keep doing this, Leicester City. This is my qualm. They had 62% possession, 12 shots, 1 on target. 5 of them blocked. So this team isn't placing it either. This team is just blasting it somewhere between those 2 nets. Two nets. Somewhere between the 2 sticks. And hoping to God it gets on target. 1 shot on target for Leicester City. 5 for Blackburn out of their 9 shots in total and 38% possession. They were technical, they were good. They're basically going back to basics. Blackburn, seeing where they are in the league, gone back to basics. Hey, it's working. Now, will going back to basics beat this Bristol City side, who can turn up and who can't? Bristol City, who lost 5-1 away at Stoke City, but they are at home, and those fans will not like it if they get thumped yet again, especially by Blackburn Rovers, seeing where they are in the league. What are you lot saying? 2-2, 2-2, 3-2, 2-1, 1-1 and 1-2. So only one person saying, out of the ones I looked at, saying Blackburn were going to win this one. We can see there's plenty of goals in here. Look, both of these sides can score 1, 2, 3 goals, and I think that it's certainly not going to be a 4 or 5-0. But I'm going to say that I've said it already. But I do think it's going to be there's going to be 3, 4, or even 5 goals in this one. Could it be 3-2? Yes, it could be 3-2. I really could see it. I think it could be 3-1. However, I'm sort of tempted to sit on the fence here, because both of these, Bristol City will not want to lose this one after being thumped last week, and Blackburn have been doing well, and they'll want to keep it well. They have got a good defence, even though they are letting the odd goal in quite regular. And for that reason, I think that Bristol City will score. I'm going to actually agree with a couple of you. I'm going to go Bristol City 2, Blackburn 2, and we'll go to Charlton versus West Brom. Now, Charlton versus West Brom, as we go down the Tuesday games, we've got Charlton in 8th and West Brom in 12th. I actually thought Charlton would be just a few places lower than this. I thought West Brom would be several places lower than this. I thought they'd been following 1 year behind Norwich City and probably finish sort of around, waver around the sort of 14, 15 for quite a while and probably just stay around there. But they're actually playing just a tad better than what I thought, West Brom, but so are Charlton. And it's really nice to see a side coming up and not going straight back down again. So Charlton, draw, lose, win, draw. Those 2 wins, 2-1 at home to Sheffield Wednesday, 3-0 away to Ipswich. And they really are not having a good time, Ipswich, are they? Hull City draw 1-1 and a Swansea draw 1-1 makes up the last 2. Swansea at home 1-1 then, and Charlton scored on 46 minutes. A perfect time, isn't it, to score as you come out for the second half. But then Swansea City equalised on 64 minutes. This was really a very... The game was really quite tentative. It's as if these sides really didn't want to lose. If anything, they just wanted to try and make sure that they didn't get 0 points out of this game. But, it was a decent game. It was a little bit ginger, wasn't it, in that they did defend an awful lot and they tried to pass back and keep the ball in their own half and just make sure that if they could take them on the opposition on the break, then each side would. And before you complain, both of these teams have got 5 draws so far in this campaign. And they've both been doing quite similar in that if we really need to get the point, let's just make sure we get the point first. And if we can win it, then we'll try and just push a little bit. They're not going all out for wins, although Swansea did at first. I must admit, Swansea looked like they were going to do really, really well and score lots of goals. But I think Charlton came up thinking we just want to avoid the drop back down. And they tried to get the 1 point, and now they're starting to realise that we can start winning these games. However, in this one, Charlton-Swansea, very, very even, a little bit gingerly played, a little bit defensive, trying not to lose the game. West Brom then, win, lose, win. Lose, draw. The win against Norwich City 1-0 away. Well, they're not playing very well anyway, are they? Preston North End, when Preston started to just not... I think they had a problem with the defenders, didn't they, at that point in time? And they won Preston 2-1 at home. Right time, right place, right team, you know. West Brom 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, and I looked at this one and thought, you know, what is happening here? West Brom are absolutely all over Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday did manage to get 2 shots on target, and you know, most of their shots were actually, you know, on target. It's just that, you know, several of them got blocked. You know, handful of shots for Sheffield Wednesday. Probably 2 or 3 times as many for West Brom. And at home, you know, they really didn't want or deserve a Drawthorns tag on this one, but that's what they got. And this was actually one of the best passing performances of the weekend for West Brom. Absolutely clinical, really good passing. However, if you just pass it and don't get it into to get a clear shot at the other end, that's the problem. And their goalkeeper, Sheffield Wednesday's the lone goalkeeper there, absolutely astonishing. He was playing some blinders, but he also made some errors that West Brom didn't manage to punish him for. So, yeah, that lack of foresight there by the front end of West Brom could have, probably did cause them to not win that game. So we got both of these teams doing well. Charlton thinking, you know, hey, if we could stay here, have we got the depth of squad to stay up here? West Brom thinking, you know, it's just slowing down. You know, we were doing so well with a win, a lose, and a win in the first 3 of the 6, and then now a lose, draw in the last 3. And things are just starting to stick a little bit. We're not quite getting we're getting the play, but we're not taking advantage of it. What are you saying then for Charlton West Brom? 3-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-0, 2-0, 1-1. You know something? I know exactly where I'm going, because I think that both these sides, I mean, it could be a 0-0 board draw, this one, but I'll go and sit on the fence with a Charlton 1, West Brom 1. So then we go to Derby versus Hull, and it's Derby in 17th position, just starting to pull up now, aren't they? And Hull City in a surprising 7th after having that embargo on them. And we've got Derby County draw, lose, win, and there are 3 matches winning here. Sheffield United 1, Derby County 3, and they were actually 3-0 up until O'Hare scored a late consolation for Sheffield United. And in this game, you'd expect Sheffield United to be taking the ball a lot and keeping it and passing it and getting lots of shots and just not making the most of them. That's exactly what we saw. 62% possession, 15 shots, 5 on target, 1 in the net. Not good enough if you want to be in the top half. And look where they are. Then you've got Derby County, 38% possession, 12 shots, 4 on target, 3 in the net. This is the side that I saw being built in pre-season. This is a good side up front, and I actually think that they should be playing like this more often, and they can play like this more often. They seem to have got that team together. It's just that they haven't been playing very well. They haven't been they haven't been gelling together for me. But here they did, absolutely. And I enjoyed the game there. I think Derby County with a deserved win. Hull City then, draw, win, draw, win. And they have suddenly... they were doing well anyway, but now they seem to have improved even more. Their last 2 wins were Leicester City at home 2-1 and away at Norwich City 2-0. So they're not afraid of winning away from home. They can do. They did it last time out against Norwich City. Norwich City 0, Hull City 2. 60% possession for Norwich, and we've seen this before. 15 shots, but only 3 of them on target. A third of those shots were blocked. So it's just it's panic stations and just try and blast it to the front. That's what happens when you're at the bottom half of the league. You start panicking, you blast the shot, and it more often than not just hits a player and gets pushed out. And that's really the story of this game. 3 shots on target for Norwich City, not in the net. 4 shots on target for Hull City, not as panicky, a little bit more class, a little bit more style, and just they just thought about their passing more and thought about their shots more, and they got 2 of their 4 in the net. So what are you thinking? Derby County, Hull City, you're thinking 2-1, 3-1, 3-1, 1-1, 1-2 and 1-1. I'm actually surprised here because I think that we're talking 2 sides that this could be a 2-2 draw. It could even be a 3-3 draw. But I think that shots-wise, Hull City still just have it for me. Have Derby County turned it around? I think that it may go either way. This and I just think that was that a flash in the pan, that game against Sheffield United for Derby County. I hope for the Derby County fans it isn't, but I'm going to say it was, because I think then I'm looking at this Hull side and thinking, 4 wins out of 5. This is a team that is at the minute showing its class, beating Sheffield United, Birmingham, Leicester and Norwich. So good sides, good class players in the side at least. I'm going to go Derby County 1, Hull City 2. Let's get on with it. Let's go Ipswich-Watford. Now, Ipswich versus Watford. Again, another game for Tuesday, the 4th of November. We have Ipswich in 9th versus Watford in 10th. And, of course, Ipswich would have been thinking... I certainly put them in the top 2 in my predictions for the season. Yeah, Ipswich, draw, win, lose, lose, win, win. The last defeat there was 3-0 at home to Charlton, who, like we just said, have been getting better and better, haven't they? And then the last time out, a 4-1 win away at QPR. QPR 1, Ipswich 4, and they ran this game, didn't they? Well, in the second half, they sort of died off right near the end. Which was surprising. QPR came back to sort of equalise on 21 minutes, and I really thought that they might just be able to do something here, this QPR team. And to be honest, I think that without that goal on 57 and that goal on 64, that 1-1 scoreline, you'd have to take the 47-minute one out as well. But I thought that 47-minute one by Nunes was quite good. I thought it was a draw overall. Overall, both a draw. But Ipswich actually played better football. The passing was better. The dribbling was better. I think Ipswich deserved the win here. Did they deserve a 4-1 win? That's probably overdoing it. 2-1 at the maximum, 3-1 to me. It wasn't. It was a scoreline that didn't really match the game that I watched in the replay. So a good win by Ipswich. What about Watford? Draw, win, lose, win. They've been up, down, here, there. They've been a bit like Bristol City in that they do turn up or they don't turn up. Watford 3, Borough 0. And in this one, I actually thought Borough played really, really well. They just didn't take any of their chances. They didn't get enough of those, 14, 15 shots on target, probably 3 or 4 of them. And of those 3 or 4, none of them went in the net. But Watford, a lot less shots in total, but half of their shots were actually on target. And in fact, most of them were on target, with a couple of them blocked. So actually, the Watford game here was really good. And I tell you what, both of these sides actually played some of the best passing football of the weekend. Plus, they could both dribble. So, neither of them really over asserted themselves, which again is another one of those games. 3-0 for Watford, and Ipswich would have been Borough would have gone away thinking, much like QPR did, that wasn't a 3-0 win, was it? A 3-0 defeat, was it? So both of these teams buzzing from the last game. They really shouldn't have won by quite as much as they did. What are you thinking then? 0-0, 0-2, 4-3 to Ipswich, 3-1, 2-2 and 2-0. Look, there are goals in this. I think both of these sides can either open the floodgates at the defence end, or open the floodgates at the attacking end, or at both. This could go drastically either way, couldn't it? I'm thinking that this could be a 3-0 or a 3-1. The question is, which way do I go? I think this could go either way. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to Ipswich 3, Watford 1, but this could quite easily be the other way. I'm sort of following you lot there and choosing one of yours again. So I'm just going to choose one of yours. Perhaps I won't get into trouble by you lot then. Leicester City versus Borough next, and Leicester City not doing greatly, are they? In 14th position against Borough, who actually aren't doing very well at the minute. They're in second place. How on earth are they the league is so flat that it's insane. Leicester City draw, win, draw, lose, and they're still mid-table. How are they doing it? Blackburn, Leicester City 0, Blackburn 2. We've already discussed this. Don't need to discuss it anymore. But yeah, Leicester City were not well on top. They were their passing was brilliant, absolutely one of the best that weekend. However, they didn't make the most of it. In one shot on target, and realistically, 1 out of 12 isn't good, is it? And that was really the crux of it for Leicester, at least in that game. Middlesbrough draw, lose, win, draw and lose. That draw, Wrexham 1-1. They really should have put that one to bed, but they didn't. And then they go to Watford 3, Borough 0. And Borough really should have done more with that. They both had 4 shots on target, but Watford come away with 3-0 win. And Borough had almost twice as many shots in that game, just didn't manage to convert any of them. But the passing for both sides was really good again. So when we go back to see Leicester Borough, both of these sides can and have in their last game played some damn good football, some really good passing football, some good possession football, some good dribbling, some good passing, and yet they both lost. I'm just thinking that both these sides are in a bit of a doldrums at the minute, and I'm thinking which one can, if it's possible, come out of this. Leicester City Borough, what are you lot thinking? You lot are thinking 1-2, 1-1, 0-2, 1-1, 1-0, 0-1 and 0-0. Well, I'm going to think this is going to be one of the board draws. Watch me be wrong for saying that. I'm going to go with whoever said that. I'm going to go with Leicester 0, Borough 0. And we go to Oxford versus Stoke City. This is another one I got into trouble for. And I did actually say Stoke City have been playing some really good defensive football, and they have shown at the beginning that they can score freely and really freely. But I wasn't happy that their statistics showed that they could score more than sort of 1 or 2. Indeed, in the previous 5 games, it's been 0, 1 or 2 goals that 0 or 1 goal that they've scored. Yep. So yeah, they might have scored 0 or 1 goal in the previous 5 games. There was no signs of them scoring 5. So the person who commented on me, oh well, you don't know anything about football. There's no signs of that side scoring 5 goals in that game. Not a single one. Yes, it was a good game, and look, Rotherham fans follow Victor. Victor it was our absolute ace in the nets, and of course Victor Johansson plays for Stoke City, so we will always support Stoke City while Victor's in the nets there. So actually we all do support Stoke City as well, most of the Rotherham fans. So because we loved him and he was great. So actually, we were quite happy that you won 5-1, and quite happy that I got it wrong. So what do we say? Oxford United draw, lose, win, draw. The last time out, a really good draw. Oxford 2, Millwall 2. And like we said earlier, Oxford actually were allowed to play here when they had the ball. They did marginally more with the ball. It was a draw, and absolutely, if I look at it from an Oxford point of view, they'll have been happy with that. But I mean, Oxford probably just about edged it. If anybody could have won this one 3-2, it would have been Oxford. They played well. It was at home. They can play well at home, but that game just showed you that when push comes to shove, a good away side like Millwall could just be. They could be the equal of that side. However, they're playing Stoke City. Draw, win, lose, win. They won a very poor Portsmouth side 1-0 away October the 25th. Then they slaughtered Bristol City 5-1 in that game. But if you look at that game in detail, we have Stoke City 5, Bristol City 0. Actually, Stoke City here, they were marginally ahead on the stats for possession. They were better at passing it, absolutely, as the person said. They were better at dribbling it. They were marginally better, I think, on their class of shot. I think Bristol City had almost the same number of shots on target. However, it wasn't. They were more sort of quickly, let's get a shot in, rather than Stoke City's, which were more, let's place that shot perfectly. And that's what was the difference here. It was Stoke City's front line thinking about it before they made the shot, whereas Bristol City's didn't. They did turn up. They did play a good game. However, did they turn up really thinking, yeah, we could do this? I think they didn't. And there was something about this Bristol City side that said perhaps one or two players didn't turn up in this game and didn't quite make their full effect on the game. So Stoke City deserving a win here, but whether it was 5-1, I mean, I don't think it deserved a 5-1 scoreline. Probably one or two less than that, but it was a good win, and it was good to watch, and I did enjoy it as a neutral, and especially with Victor in the goal. Of course, who can complain at that? So Oxford versus Stoke City. What are you saying? 1-2, 2-0, 2-3. 1-2, 0-2 and 1-2. So somebody's actually thinking that Oxford could win 2-0. I don't think Oxford can win this one. I think Stoke's really got the bit between their teeth, haven't they? Especially after that win. 2 in a row as well. I think they're going to win this one, Stoke City. I'm going to go with my gut feeling that Victor can keep a clean sheet here. And I'm going to go with Oxford 0, Stoke City 2. And we'll go to the next game. Which of course brings me to the game Coventry versus Sheffield United. Coventry in first place. Look at that goal difference, 24. And Sheffield United in 22nd, goal difference minus 13. And which way is this one going to go, guys? Coventry City win, lose away at Wrexham. I mean, wow, what was the game thinking there? Game plan, where did that go? So their first defeat, and they're the last team, of course, to get a defeat. Wrexham 3, Coventry 2, even though they got a late goal, Wrexham to go ahead to 3-1 on 83, and then Coventry got 88 minutes 3-2, and you're thinking, could they do this? It was actually, Coventry actually played some really good football again. They do tend to be playing some really good passing football. They did here at Wrexham, but it didn't make much difference. In fact, if you look at the number of if you look at the shots of these two teams, Wrexham had probably about the same amount of shots, just a few less than Coventry, but a lot more percentage of them actually ended up on target, whereas Coventry's for once were not as clinical, and probably only a third or a quarter of their shots ended up on target without being blocked. And not many of them were blocked either. So passing, yeah, that's the only place where Coventry were really ahead here. Just a day that they want to forget. You know, Coventry did deserve just to lose this one, but I think they'll be disappointed they didn't come away with a late equaliser there. Sheffield United lose, win, lose. The two wins there, Watford 1-0 at home and Blackburn Rovers 3-1 away. Remember, 3-1 away. Sheffield United 1, Derby County 3 was the last game. We mentioned that before. Sheffield United really would have been aggrieved they didn't get a draw here at least. They were better at passing. They were more clinical at passing. They were slicker with the dribbling as well. It's just that Derby County's front line were just technically better than what the front line of Sheffield United was. And that is it. I mean, that is it for the game. Technically, Sheffield United weren't as good. That's why they lost it. So if we look at Coventry versus Sheffield United, I've already said Coventry can be. And even in the defeat there, they were still quite technically good, just not as good as Wrexham. So we've got a good technical team usually against a very poor technical team usually. Coventry versus Sheffield United, what are you thinking? 4-0, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 and 2-0. And I am actually going to again follow one of your results, guys. And just so that I don't get into trouble with you, and we're going to go Coventry 2, Sheffield United 0. And one of those people who said 2-0 is actually a Coventry fan, so that's good there, isn't it? And we go to Preston versus Swansea next, which is the following day on Wednesday. So we're going to the Wednesday games, and we've got Swansea in 16th, Preston in 6th. I really thought Swansea at the beginning, with the first few games of the season, I thought they'd be firing really well and they'd be higher than that. Preston, I actually did think that they'd be up there. I really did. After seeing some of their games, that they started a little bit rusty, but they actually started to play some damn good football at the beginning. And I remember predicting them wins and draws, and the Preston fans that I've got saying, no, we're going to lose this one, or we're going to draw it, not win it. And I was getting them right. I got the Leicester City win correct, for instance, and all the Preston fans on my side going, no, we're not going to win this one. But you did. Preston, draw, win, lose, win. Win against Sheffield United 3-2. Win against Southampton 2-0. We'll look at those two. Now, these are two poor teams, aren't they? They really are playing really poor. They made the best of a position where they've played the right team at the right time. So, Southampton 0, Preston 2, 38 minutes and 90 plus 4 for their two. Southampton always have the knack of keeping control of the game. 64% possession, did it again. They always have a knack of making the most shots. Actually, they didn't in this one. They did do a lot of shots. They did 10 shots against Preston's 12. But usually they're up in the sort of 15, 16, 17 per game. But only 2 of them on target for Southampton, and this is really very much like Southampton, and Preston made them pay for it. 2 shots on target for Southampton, 3 on target for Preston, 2 in the net for Preston. That's it. That is the statistic you need. Southampton kept the ball. Yeah. Southampton played it around in their own half. Yet again. Yeah. Southampton did nothing with it. Yet again. Yeah. Preston made them pay for it. That's it. Simple as. What do we say for Swansea City then? Lose, draw, lose, win, lose, draw. And I know you're going to say I know nothing about football after that, but look where Southampton are in the league. And yes, I do live in Portsmouth, by the way. Sorry. I had to slip that one in. Charlton won, Swansea City won, and realistically, Swansea went to a Charlton side that was really doing well, weren't they? This was a draw all the way through. One clear-cut chance each, really, in that game. Probably a dozen shots from each side. Yeah, 3 or 4 shots on target for each side. Pretty good passing, pretty good football, pretty good dribbling. 1-1, probably about right. Swansea had a bit more of the game here. Probably deserved on a one goal win somewhere along the line, if anybody did. But, it was a decent enough game to watch. It wasn't a bore draw, put it that way. So what are you thinking? Preston versus Swansea. 3-0, 0-1, 2-2, 1-1, 2-1 and 1-0. So only one person thinking Swansea can win this one. I think that things are just going for Preston at the minute. This will be a very, very tough test, though, after a relatively easy Sheffield United game, a relatively easy Southampton game, whereas Swansea City have had Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, 3-1 defeat there, which is no mean feat, and 1-1 Charlton, of course, the one we looked at. And you're thinking Preston must be able to do this, but can they? I think 3 may be pushing it, and I'm not sure whether it's a case where I know Swansea can score. Swansea can score, and I think I'm going to have to go for that horrible score that we don't like doing. Preston 2, Swansea 1. Could be the other way round, but I think it's going to be Preston here. But it could be either way round. Really could. Somebody. See, nobody said 2-1 in the direction. 1-0 in the other direction was the only one that you lot said. We go to QPR Southampton. We've already done the Southampton. Let's just do QPR. Draw, win, lose, lose. Ipswich last time out for QPR. QPR 1, Ipswich 4. And if we look at that game just quickly again, it was sort of like it was really Ipswich controlled this game, but they didn't actually overrun QPR. Realistically, it shouldn't have been 4-1. They were just more clinical, Ipswich, at the end of the day. And they showed a class of shot from probably the top 4 or 5 in the league. So Ipswich was showing what they could do in this game. 4-1. Will they carry out? Will they continue to be like that? Let's see, because we're looking at QPR. I think QPR handled them quite well, although that really wasn't the scoreline that I saw in the replay. I thought a 1 or 2 goal difference between the two teams. Certainly not a 3 goal difference. Southampton win, draw, lose, lose. Not doing very well for Southampton, and of course, like we said, it's the Preston game was their last game. Southampton 0, Preston 2. It went like it usually does. They controlled the game. They passed the game out. They had they had all of the possession realistically. They had great passing, great dribbling. They didn't have as many shots as they usually do, but their ability to get the shots on target were just, as usual, are awful. 2 shots, we will go stats here. 2 shots on target, 2 shots off target, 6 shots blocked. Just shows you that what this side is doing when it's shooting. Is it placing the ball? Is it Eck? Right. So, next one. No, it's not, because I've got Portsmouth. Well, maybe it is. QPR Southampton, then, what are you thinking? 0-0, 0-2, 0-1, 1-3, 1-1 and 1-2. A lot of people here going for Southampton. And I'm actually going to go with QPR. I'm going to play the joke. I'm not going with you lot. I'm going QPR 1, Southampton 0. And we'll go to Sheffield Wednesday versus Norwich City. Now this is a poor Sheffield Wednesday as far as results are going, but they actually have been playing some damn good football. And they have, and they've got some real gems. They've got at least 2 real gems from those kids that are playing. And so don't be surprised if Wednesday win this. And the reason is, I'll give you 2 in a minute. Sheffield Wednesday, draw, lose, 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 draw. The last time out was really the epitome of what I was thinking. I've been saying they're going to get points. They're going to get points for a while. West Brom 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. And West Brom really 62% possession. It did look like it was all West Brom, right? It was all West Brom. They had the most shots. They converted shots to on-target shots brilliantly. But they played some fantastic passing football as well. But Sheffield Wednesday actually played some good mid-table football as far as passing is concerned. As far as dribbling concerned, yeah, okay, a few errors there. But I think this Wednesday, they're made up from a few kids as well. They're doing really well with what they got. I saw Banner do some really good stuff as well. So they can do well. They didn't have that much possession. 5 shots, 2 on target, not in the net. Actually, I think that this side is quite capable of getting a goal or 2 out of 5 shots at target. Absolutely, they can get some really really great goals against the run of play and hold on to them. This side is capable of winning this. Why do I say that? Because Norwich City they're playing, and Norwich City have this ability to go to a side that's in the bottom and underestimate them. If anybody's going to underestimate Sheffield Wednesday, it's going to be Norwich City. They did against Rotherham. They lost 2-0. One of our only 2 wins that season we got relegated was against Norwich City. They came down and underestimated us. I say that not because I'm a Rotherham fan, but because that's what Norwich City have done several times. And I think they're going to do that against Sheffield Wednesday because, this Norwich City side, lose, last 6 games, complete whiteout there. Hull City, Norwich City 0, Hull City 2. And here we see an amazing Norwich City side, controlling game, passing it around quite well. In fact, there was some really good passing in that game, some really good dribbling, really good controlling. They were shooting ad hoc, but that was the problem. They were shooting ad hoc. Only 3 of their 15 shots, Norwich City, was actually on target. And you can't even say that a lot of them were blocked. A third of them were blocked, okay, but in comparison to some of the other games, it wasn't a sort of most of our shots were blocked, so you can't really count that one. 7 off target out of those 15. 7. But Hull City really did. They did well with what they got. 2 shots, two in the net out of 4 on target. So they were quite clinical. So this Norwich City side just do a lot of. It's like show. It's just show. It's artistically good, but they need to get balls in the net, and I'm not convinced they can. Goals scored in the last 6: 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Where's this going to go? What are you thinking? Sheffield Wednesday versus Norwich City. 3-3, 0-2, 0-2, 1-2, 2-1, and 1-0. I actually think I'm going to agree with one of you. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday 1, Norwich City 0. We go to the last game, which is my local side, Portsmouth versus Wrexham. And there's a lot of people thinking that Wrexham game, Coventry win there 3-2 at home, is a sign that they can indeed will start to go back up the league. But so Portsmouth are thinking the same thing. They've been playing quite poorly for a while. Then they had a couple of games where they played a lot better, and then they seem to have just lost the plot a little bit recently. Draw, win, draw, and then lose. Coventry, Stoke, and Birmingham. Coventry and Stoke, when they're playing really well, you cannot get past them. I'm not surprised they lost against them because all middle teams in that division, it's so flat. Coventry and Stoke are quite difficult to beat at the best of times. Birmingham, however, 4-0 defeat away there. Birmingham 4, Portsmouth 0. And Portsmouth really didn't ever get into this game. 0 shots on target, 5 shots in the entire game. Almost 20, about 20 shots for Birmingham. They were just peppering it. 4-0, it's probably, it should have been probably a bit more than that. Let's just say Portsmouth were just outranked, outplayed and outdone. And we'll move to Wrexham. Draw, lose, win. Draw, lose, win. Last time it was the Wrexham 3, Wrexham 3, Coventry 2. And in this game, Wrexham, which was the team obviously we're looking at, didn't do quite as well as Coventry. I must admit, I thought Coventry played better. They passed a lot better. They dribbled a lot better. They made more shots. They just weren't quite as clinical as they usually are. And Wrexham were suddenly as clinical as hell in the attacking performance. Had 13 shots, 7 on target, 3 in the net. How more clinical do you want? But it hasn't been that way all season. Will it continue like that? I mean, that was at home against Coventry, and I'm just a little bit worried that that they'll play a little bit differently away from home to at least try and get a draw. And I think we may see a side here that tries to get that draw. 5 draws for Wrexham so far. And I'm just concerned that that's what they're going to play for away at Portsmouth. A draw, what are you saying? 2-1, it's Portsmouth Wrexham, 2-1, 0-1, 1-2, 2-2, 1-2 and 2-3. I don't see lots of goals in this, I really don't. I think it's going to be a 1-0 win either way, and I'm actually going to go with my local side, and it's another one that you've not actually predicted. I'm going to go Portsmouth 1, Wrexham 0. Thank you very much. Do like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe.